Extra-canonical books often have numerous chronological, geographical, historical, and theological mistakes that prove them to be uninspired. The Book of Jubilees is one such book. This book includes information about the narratives of Genesis and Exodus. One of the more interesting items it discusses is the Tower of Babel. This text states that the tower was over 5,400 cubits tall, which works out to about 8,100 feet, or a little over 1.5 miles. However, we know that this is impossible, and here's where basic physics becomes a problem. The taller a structure, the greater the crushing force on the bottom layers. As height increases, the weight pressing downward eventually exceeds the strength of the materials at the base. At that point, the structure fails under its own mass. The pressure simply destroys whatever's at the bottom. Even modern engineers have to account for this. Skyscrapers are carefully designed so that the strongest structural elements are at the bottom, and materials often become lighter higher up, precisely because weight accumulates with height. Ancient builders also understood these limitations. When they were planning the pyramids, the Egyptians realized that the immense weight of the stone blocks would eventually create structural dangers. They incorporated design features specifically to manage load distribution and prevent structural collapse. For example, when constructing the bent pyramid, builders realized that the original angle was too sharp. The angle had to be reduced because the entire structure would become unstable on account of structural limitations. Pyramids also had vaulted ceilings to direct pressure away from flat stone roofs, which would have cracked under pressure. Even stone masonry has its limitations. So a mile-high brick tower in the ancient world wasn't just unlikely, it was an engineering impossibility. The immense weight of the bricks from such a tall tower would have destroyed everything on the bottommost layers. See, details like this are one reason scholars recognize that certain books like Jubilees contain the kinds of problems that prevent us from treating them as inspired.